Today on Brilliance Business TV, we have the incredible Dr. Joe Vitale, from homelessness to president of the Napoleon Hill Institute, best-selling author of over 90 books, including The Secret, star of 30 plus movies, and a musician with 15 albums. Wow, the incredible Dr. Joe Vitale. Stay tuned. Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and I'm joined with my incredible co-host today, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood. We'll have a chat in a second. We have the most incredible guest today who doesn't want to live a zero limits life. I know I do, Rhonda. How about you?
Absolutely, 100%. I 100% love that. I'm so excited about today's guest.
Me too. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're also on the E360 TV network. We're also going out on Apple, Fire, Android, Roku, and many more. We're also on Business Innovators Radio Network, USA Global Radio and Television Network, and mspnewsglobal.com. Let's bring in our incredible guest, Dr. Joe Vitale. Dr. Joe, this is my pleasure of interviewing you for the second time now. And I know it was quite a few years ago I interviewed you on the radio show when it was just first starting out. So thank you for coming back on and joining me.
I've been waiting for the invitation, so it's great to see you, hear from you, and meet your beautiful co-host. So thank you.
Yes, it's always a pleasure having Dr. Rhonda here, and let's get started with the show. Dr. Joe, in your experience, what is the biggest self-imposed limitation that entrepreneurs often face? And what mindset shift of principle helps them break free from it to achieve greater success?
It's important to realize that the self-imposed limitations are largely subconscious/unconscious. So I can sit here and say what some of them are, and a lot of people will nod their heads and go, well, that sounds great, but I don't have that one. And what you have to realize is that you probably have a lot of self-imposed limitations, but they're in the dark spots of your mind. They're in the blind spots. Consciously, you don't think about them. So when I say one of the big limitations is a lack of deservingness, a lot of people will go, that doesn't fit for me. I do deserve success. Yet they have to look at the reality of their situation and ask themselves, am I successful? Am I getting the business I want? Do I have the company growing in the way that I want? Am I complaining about things going on in the world, outside circumstances, and acting like a victim? Because all of this is a clue that you probably have an activated self-limiting belief, but it's in your subconscious mind. So that's the first thing I want people to consider. Then the second one is you have to look at your circumstances and ask yourself, am I achieving everything that I have stated as my goal? And if you have not, and there's a level of frustration there, then you probably have this operating hidden belief. The third thing to do then is to ask yourself, what might that belief be? You have to play with the possibility that there is a belief there, a limiting belief there, and you consciously don't know what it is yet. Then when you write down a few ideas, what you think it could be, and it could be anything from you don't think you're deserving, you don't think you're good enough, you think that there's a lack of education, a lack of experience, any number of things could come up. What you do next is you question the assumed belief. You want to doubt the belief. A lot of people doubt that they can do anything. And I say, doubt your doubts. Doubt your doubts will lead to freedom. And what you want to do with any of these beliefs that are surfacing because of this conversation is start to doubt them, start to question them, start to look for what's the evidence for this limiting belief. Because when you dig a little bit, you'll find there isn't any evidence for it. And then you can let it go, and then you can be free.
I think you touched on some great points there, Dr. Joe. I've been on this journey of self-improvement, and it can be very uncomfortable at times, I'll be totally honest, because when you're putting on in all of this great stuff, obviously all that old stuff has to come up to the surface to you to release it. And I think you have to gain a very conscious awareness and stay very calm when some of these limiting beliefs and old programming is coming to the surface. Because if you start reacting to it or believing it, I set myself worse at one point. So it's really important to stay really calm and just observe these things. And when you question them, is this absolutely true? And you realise there's actually no evidence to this. It's just like from past childhood or past programming. So I'm a big advocate of the work you do, Dr. Joe. Like I mentioned before our call, I did one of your EFT tapping courses. I did the Ho'oponopono. I've also done another one which was a clearing course as well, which I can't believe how much value you give in these courses, Joe. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but the value I received was exceptional. Just hypnosis audios, subliminals, mind programming, and videos for education. Anyone on a transformational journey, I do really highly recommend checking out some of Dr. Joe's work. It's very, very transformational. Do you want to add anything there, Dr. Rhonda?
Oh, absolutely. I love how you talked about doubting the doubts. I think there are a lot of people who get stuck in clearly stuck in self-limitation, stuck in, trying to figure out their purpose, doubting their self-worth, their value, their contribution to the world. What can I offer? Just so many things. So definitely appreciate the work that you do. Your reputation precedes itself. I know in the entrepreneur world, I think those thoughts are magnified even more. So I wanted to ask the concept of zero limits. It actually suggests a life without limitations, right? And so what practical advice can you offer entrepreneurs to identify and dismantle the internal programs, if you will, or belief systems that might hinder an entrepreneur's progress and or potential?
Wonderful question. That's like the $1 million question here. So what's the $1 million answer?
Yes.
I have been making this my life mission. I have a movie coming out called Zero Limits. I have a book called Zero Limits. My brand is Zero Limits. And my personal quest is to find out, do we have any limits? And what I'm discovering is we do not. We have limitations that we fuel with our belief. And so they become self-imposed limitations. And what we have to do is question them. Well, first of all, before you can question them, you have to find them. Most of us are living out of a box of beliefs. We're living out of a box of limitations, but we don't know it because nobody's pointed it out to us. Usually we need a coach, we need a mentor, we need somebody that is saying, did you just hear what you just said? That there was a limitation spoken, but you spoke it as if it was truth. It's only truth and reality to the extent you believe in it. So how do you find these limitations so you can move in this direction of zero limits? And that is to become ruthlessly aware of your own self-talk and your spoken talk. Whenever you say you can't do something, or whenever you speak in terms of an absolute, you have to pause and go, is that true? Because when you say, well, I can't do that, and you fill in the blank with a because, you've just given an excuse to fuel the establishment of a limitation. Most likely it can be questioned, and most likely you can transcend it, but you can't question it and you can't transcend it until you know it's there. So I tell people, listen to yourself when you're talking. And Mark, I don't want to pick on you, but I'm going to point out something you said, because you are front and center here and you're doing the show. When you were speaking earlier, after I answered the first question, you said you've been in personal growth and personal development, and I know you have. And you also mentioned that it's often very uncomfortable to do the work to explore this and make the change. And right then in my head, a little light went off and said, he just spoke a limitation. He just spoke a limitation, and he probably isn't aware of it. And this is not a bad thing. I'm not picking on you. I'm trying to illustrate something all of us need to do. When we say such and such happens, or such and such is going to happen, much like you had said something to the effect of, when you do the personal work, self-exploration, it can be painful, it can be uncomfortable. Yeah, it can be. It doesn't need to be. It's a limiting belief that prevents us from having a zero limits life. When we say that and we believe that and we promote that and we tell other people that, we're spreading this meme of limitation until we interrupt it. This is why I think coaching is so valuable. I started Miracles Coaching, my own program, 20 years ago, because I found, yes, you can change. Yes, you can transcend all by yourself, but it'll take forever. You'll do it at a slow pace unless you get a coach. Now, I hope somebody noticed what I just said was a limitation. I said, if you do it by yourself, it'll take forever. Is that true? No, that's a limiting belief. If somebody doesn't stop, and I stop myself there because I'm trying to illustrate this process without picking on anybody but myself, and I said this could take forever, that's a limiting belief. That's not true. You can change in an instant. One of my next books is called Instant Transformation. Instant transformation, because the right person saying the right thing at the right moment can cause you to awaken. I made the whole movie, Zero Limits. I have filmed proof that there are no limits in the world. And as I say that, whatever people are saying in their head, yeah, Joe, but what about? Yeah, Joe, but what about? You're voicing limits when you say that. And now you have to question them. So to answer your beautiful question, we are living in a world of limitations, and we will continue to do so until we question our assumed assumptions. And how do we find them? Pay attention to how we're speaking, how we're writing, how we're thinking, and get a coach to accelerate the process of awakening.
You know, Dr. Joe, you're absolutely right to point that out. And I was going to answer the question with, I'm really good at seeing these beliefs. It's kind of releasing them, like I can see them, but it's letting them go. But now you've pointed out my wording. You're totally right that having that assumption that, oh, it's uncomfortable, I need to change that to, oh, self-growth. I'm finding it really easy now. It's going really smoothly because everything does start off in the mind. So I actually really appreciate that. So yeah, what should make my journey a little bit easier, or a lot easier, I should say, because that's another limitation. I'm going to be watching every word that comes out of my mouth now. Living a zero limits life often involves embracing unexpected opportunities and navigating challenges. How do you cultivate a mindset of flow and adaptability that allows for greater innovation and achievement in the entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that's another great question. And there's a couple fundamental operating beliefs that I'm utilizing, and I invite people to use them. And one of them is anything is possible. That's a belief. Anything is possible. Another one is you can turn anything into something good. So these are underneath my other beliefs, and these are kind of like operating beliefs. So let me give you a quick story. A few years ago, right before the pandemic, I and a business partner decided to put on a very high-end private mastermind. We were going to do it in San Antonio, Texas. I was living nearby at that point. I was living in Texas. And we went to a facility. We were signing the papers. We started to promote it. We wanted like 50 people. And they were going to pay thousands of dollars each. And they were going to have a private mastermind with me. So we started to promote it. We started to get some signups. And then we started to hear about this virus. And we started to hear that people were getting nervous. We started to hear that it was called a pandemic, and there was something called COVID, and everybody got nervous, and people were not signing up, and people were asking for their money back, and people were canceling. What do? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in business. I already put money down here. I'm already promoting this, and suddenly I'm getting the red flag, the stoplight. You've got to stop. All right. How do I turn that into something good? I thought, well, let me move the event to online. By now, we all know we can do things online. I've been doing things online for over 3 decades, back before it was the internet. So I'm moving it online, and I announced I'm doing a private mastermind, but now more people can attend. Now I'll charge less money. It's still hundreds of dollars, but not thousands. And it's going to be virtual. And guess what? Almost nobody signs up. Nobody signs up. So my plan A isn't working. My plan B isn't working. And I'm now going, how do I turn this into something really great? And I decide, you know what? We all need some help. I'm going to do the event, but I'm going to do it for free. So now I announce my private mastermind is now with the world, and there is no cost whatsoever. Anybody with a computer, virtual, you're all being told to stay at home anyway during the pandemic. So all come on in, and I will give you 3 days of priceless value. 30,000 people signed up.
Wow.
I went from, I was going to maybe get 50 people and make some money, and that would have been great, to moving it to online. And long story short, I now have 30,000 fans who came out of nowhere, 30,000 on a mailing list, 30,000 who now have met me, who might not have known me before. And now look at it karmically. I have made a difference to the world, That's an example of turning that challenge into something positive and turning it into something good. That's coming from an operating belief that anything is possible. Any challenge can be turned into an opportunity. And what entrepreneurs need to have is the mindset to look for that. Instead of saying, oh my God, I was just kicked in the face. What I tried to do didn't work out. You have to pause and go, what could I turn this into? What is the positive here? What is the opportunity here? Napoleon Hill, I'm president of the Napoleon Hill Institute, so I'm revisiting all of his great work. He said that the seeds of greatness were inside that very challenge that was just thrown at you. This is the mindset that entrepreneurs need to have. Anything is possible.
Wow. I love that. I'm definitely going to add those affirmations into what I read daily to program my mind. Anything is possible. Anything can be turned into something good. Any challenge can be made into an opportunity. I have to remember that because I want to program that into my mindset. I absolutely love it. Dr. Rhonda, what do you want to ask Dr. Joe today?
You know, I'm just fascinated by what he just shared. I think there are so many people who would have completely freaked out, would have given up, thrown in the towel and said, you know what, maybe this was not meant to be. But the fact that you went from a plan A to a plan B and still didn't give up, and your plan C was successful is amazing. And what you said about the seeds of greatness are planted in the challenge.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of people, I don't know if they see it that way. Now, I do know, I have learned from personal experience, challenges are inevitable, but they're also necessary because that's where we get our strength, our tenacity, our resilience. That's where we kind of work our muscles and figure out how strong we really are, right?
Can I say a couple things about that to add some clarification? The very first thing is challenges are gifts from the universe to help us redirect in a more positive and prosperous way.
Mm-hmm.
That's another belief and another mindset, but that's one of those useful, beneficial beliefs. Instead of it stopping us, it's actually encouraging us. We look at the challenge as an opportunity. We look at the challenge as a gift. And then we just have to look at the gift and go, how is it a gift? Or how can I turn it into a gift? That's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say is that when you have that disappointment, when a challenge comes in and plan A isn't working, I, like everybody else, am disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to be watching or listening or reading this and discovering or thinking, oh, Joe's immune to failure. Joe doesn't have disappointment. Joe doesn't cry at night. And I want you to realize I'm human. I was going with plan A. I was planning to make this thing a big deal, make a lot of money, help a lot of people. Plan A didn't work. There's a COVID coming around. What the hell is that? Right. And then I'm disappointed. I have to backpedal. I have to take a breath. I have to look within and go, okay, what I teach is you can always find another way. You can always turn it into something good. You can always create a positive from that challenge. So I remind myself of this, then I look for it. So I want people to realize if you're an entrepreneur and you get stopped or you fall or there's a disappointment, it is natural to feel that disappointment. It is natural to feel the loss or the negativity, but you don't have to stay there.
Yes, that's it. That's it. You know, if you don't mind, I would love to ask just one really quick question. I know that you have worked with countless individuals and business leaders from all around the world, and I just want to ask, what sort of patterns have you observed in those who break through to massive success, who are able to, break through the challenges, and versus those who kind of remain stuck?
Oh, what a juicy question. Oh, what a juicy question. I am reflecting, I'm in my 70s at this point, and I have worked with, I was homeless myself. I was in poverty. I have worked with people who are millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, royalty, U.S. presidents.
Yes.
I mean, the list goes on. And when I look over all of this, including my own life, there's something that is constantly going on that I don't know that is talked about enough. And that is that constant stretch for more. And the constant stretch isn't this stretch to the breaking point. It's just stretching a little bit more. It's just constantly edging forward, doing something new, doing something a little better. One of my favorite stories is about a man who was in Thailand, who was homeless when he was 20 years old. And he had no money. He was no place to stay, no car, no job, no nothing. And he asked for help. Somebody gave him the movie The Secret. Somebody gave him some of my books. He started reading them. He started applying them, but he didn't start big. He's homeless. So the very first thing he did, which was a stretch for him, was, can I manifest a cup of coffee? Wow. He does. Then the next stretch for him, can I get a lunch? He gets it. The next stretch for him is, can I get a job? He gets one. The next stretch. And so he keeps stretching. When I met him, he had been homeless. He was a billionaire. A billionaire. It's important to realize when he was homeless and he asked for help, he didn't say, I want to be a billionaire. That was too big of a jump. That was too big of a stretch. That was not in the world of possibility for him. But by saying, okay, my little stretch coffee, my little stretch lunch, my little stretch a job, my little stretch a car, keep stretching, keep stretching, keep stretching. He's a billionaire. In fact, I was so impressed, I helped him write his book. It's called Homeless to Billionaire by Andres Pira, P-I-R-A, and me. So constantly stretching.
Constantly stretching.
I hope he brought you a coffee, Dr. Joe. After he's made his billion, I hope he got you a coffee. So, Dr. Joe, obviously we're doing... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I remember being homeless, and I got on a city bus in Dallas, Texas, which I thought was free. And the bus was 60 cents. I didn't have 60 cents. I didn't have 60 cents. I didn't think at that moment that, oh, I want to be a best-selling author. I want to live to be in my 70s and get the U.S. President, Lifetime Achievement Award. I didn't listen. None of that was important. The first stretch was, how do I get $1 so I can give 60 cents to the driver and maybe enough left over for coffee?
Wow.
Stretch by stretch by stretch, you can get to some miracles.
And that's what people need to see when they see just someone so successful, is where you have actually come from to where you are now, that you've walked the walk of everything that you teach, and the methods that you use are things that personally have worked for you, and you've seen it work for countless and countless, or thousands and thousands, even millions of people worldwide. So we're working together on an incredible collaboration, Dr. Joe, How to Live a Zero Limits Life, with Dr. Joe Vitale. Just share a little bit about the new movie that's coming up, and how people can get a hold of the movie and who should connect with you, Dr. Joe.
Well, I'm easy to find. I'm all over the internet and have been since the 90s. My Instagram and Facebook is Dr. Joe Vitale, Dr. Joe Vitale. And main website is Mr. Fire, MRFIRE.com, or you can go to joevitale.com. The movie I'm very excited about. I have filmed proof that we don't have limits. I wanted to create a movie ever since I was in The Secret 20 years ago that went beyond The Secret, that talked about more than the law of attraction. And in fact, went beyond the law of attraction, because that's the grade school first grade level of manifesting your life. What's beyond it? What's beyond it is zero limit. So I filmed a movie called Zero Limits. You can see the trailer and learn about the various places it's going to be shown by going to zerolimitsmovie.com. zerolimitsmovie.com. The world premiere is going to be in Sacramento, June 26th. VIP, red carpet. Los Angeles Tribune is covering it. Local media is covering it. A lot of the cast, including myself, are going to be there. We'll show the film. We'll have questions and answers. Later in the year, the end of 2025, early 2026, it'll be on Amazon, Apple TV, and other streaming places. But to learn about the movie, go to zerolimitsmovie.com and get ready to be inspired.
Wow.
And I must say, I've spoken to quite a few of the cast, and there's some incredible people involved in it who have achieved such things, from adversity to just incredible achievements that really showcase Zero Limits. Dr. Joe, thank you so much for giving us your time today and coming on to the Brilliance Business Show. Dr. Rhonda, do you want to say any last words to Dr. Joe as well?
Yes, Dr. Joe, just thank you so much for this interview. It was so inspirational, and I know this is going to touch and impact and transform so many lives. I mean, more than you already have, right? But it was just an honor to be able to meet you and to be able to connect with you, and I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you.
Thank you both. I love what you're doing. Godspeed, both of you and everybody watching and listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Brilliance Business Show, Dr. Joe Vitale, my incredible co-host, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Until next time, bye for now.